إذ قالت الملائكة يا مريم إن الله اصطفاك وطهرك. When the angels said to Mary, and they came, Jibreel alayhi salam came, قال إنما أنا رسول ربي لأهب لك غلاما زكيا. Jibreel alayhi salam said, "Oh Mary, I have come to give you a blessed son, a purified son from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." So who brought the spirit, the ruh of Isa alayhi salam, who is Ruhullah, Jibreel and Malaika. So they are so powerful. They are even bringing Anbiya alayhi salam on the face of the earth. And then after that, the greatest duty, now Allah Azza wa Jal wants to communicate with people, with human beings, and then Allah chooses Anbiya, and who brings those messages actually to Anbiya and Rusul? It's angels. Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills, angels bring ilham and wahi to the Anbiya alayhi salam.
I know I'm waiting for something to happen to me. But this waiting comes with trials and challenges. Nothing in life is free. My Lord, show me right from wrong. Give me light, make me strong. I know the road is long. Make me strong. Sometimes it just gets too.
إذ قالت الملائكة يا مريم إن الله اصطفاك وطهرك. When the angels said to Mary, and they came, Jibreel alayhi salam came, قال إنما أنا رسول ربي لأهب لك غلاما زكيا. Jibreel alayhi salam said, "Oh Mary, I have come to give you a blessed son, a purified son from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Every human being, they want goodness, happiness, success in their lives, and they want especially their future, and everyone is working for them. From the 5 years old child starts to work for the future, goes to nursery, and then so many years in the school, high school until 16, and then in the college, university, and after all that is for so that the person have a good future, and they want and they hope that they will get a good future. They will get a good job and other things related to it. So it is nature of human being to be concerned for future. What's going to happen? Will it be beneficial for me? What shall I do? And as I said, that they also do put a lot of effort into it, from nursery age to the most golden years of their life, like till 25 or mid-20s, they spend just not actually living their life how they want, but just investing, just working, just studying, just for so that they can get a good future in the worldly terms, job-wise, earning-wise, and things, etc. And then they again start for working for future, for their pension age. I will get good pension. What will happen after I retire? So that's how the life actually goes on. Many people, they get these things, and they also find that if they get a good house, good job, money, car, still they feel they are not at peace. So they are also lost, and those who do not get these things, actually, they think that these things will give them something once they have. So they keep working, and during their struggle, sometimes they pass away. And others, if they are fortunate enough to realize that this was never the purpose of life, and they turn back actually, then they also attain, alhamdulillah. So in one of the saying, Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jilani rahimahullah says that actually, that when one suffers worldly loss and the relationship breakdown and disloyalty from friends and family and spouses and people, he said this is a blessing from one dimension for them, that they become hopeless and they become disorientated from their circumstances, from the creation and from people and from businesses and from money. Although they are suffering, but he says that in their suffering also there is a blessing in that, because their hopelessness from loyalty, expecting loyalty and faithfulness from creation, when people turn their back upon them, when they actually are disloyal, when they defraud, when they become abandoned, this actually can lead them potentially, this can lead them towards someone who is loyal, towards someone who would not be unfaithful. And their loss actually in dunya, because they are attached to it, so that actually in a way detaches them from the dunya, because they are trying again and again, and they are becoming unsuccessful, or you may say they suffer again and again. So Ghaus-e Azam Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jilani says that this loss is also a blessing for them if they think a little bit deeply, that this actually detaches them from dunya, and so that they turn somewhere towards other direction. So in a way, what Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jilani rahimahullah is saying, that actually all those people who suffer, there is a blessing and there is a lesson in there, that because that should lead them and direct them towards someone that who does not have these defects, because the creation have become disloyal. So if they turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they find out, okay, who is not disloyal, who is not unfaithful, who will not let them down in any way. Then they, in their own way, they try. Sometimes they depend on the brother, sometimes on spouse, sometimes on friends, sometimes on... But after they find that they are also helpless in a way, sometimes they want to even help, they cannot help. They just say, sorry, we cannot help, as such. So then this helps the person turning their thoughts and their face towards someone who doesn't have these things, and they will find that only one who does not have these defects and these things is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wa jalla wa ala. Also, when they try to build their dunya, their worldly life, and it just actually comes down and is demolished and disintegrates again and again, this also then makes and should make them think that there must be a life which does not actually fall apart like this. Like I build it all and then it falls apart. Or I will have to willingly or unwillingly leave it the hard-earned money, the hard-earned actually properties and other things that I'm going to just to leave. There must be some way or somewhere that where these things I can take with me, or these things does not just vanish away, I cannot benefit. So then he, rahimahullah, he says that this person then actually turns, if he gets the right guidance and the right counseling, he then turns to the hereafter, meaning actually the permanent and eternal kingdom actually. So one should try to actually ponder over this and rethink. If you are successful, that is in a way, that is more dangerous, that is more subtle test, because a person can, at least for the time being, can fall for the fallacy, yeah, this is it, I'm going to be like this, etc. But as you know, in 70, 80 years of life of a person, if you look at the world leaders and the politicians and the businessmen and all these people, so it has not been good end, or you may say for most of them actually, that their lives, or be actors or very, very great entrepreneurs actually, who had invented great things and who had immense wealth, but their families didn't support them, they lost their friends, and even dunya, even more of over health sometime actually just left them and did not actually. So there was no real success at the end, although they had all those credentials, but they had the credentials, but they invested in the wrong, in a ship which is sinking already. So they have good products, good things, good mind, good brain, good ideas, wealth, but they put all that actually into a sinking ship, a ship which will eventually sink. So no matter how good a product is, if you put in a ship which is sinking, it will sink with it. So that's so dunya, as Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam also indicated towards, is like the sinking ship, and akhirah is the ship which does never sink. So no matter a little bit you invest, it stays there. So it's like companies. Many companies are doing good, so they are sunrise company, meaning they are going up. So if you invest your money, your time, you will also benefit. If a company is already going down, is a company already going in loss, what to say about the person who invests in that company? He is not in his mind, or he does not have a mature intellect, because no one does. So this dunya is a company, you may say. This dunya is a company, meaning actually it's an investment. You can make investment here. Akhirah is also a company. So there are two companies. One is called Akhirah, which is limitless company. Dunya is limited company. So people are given some capital in the form of time, and some of ability in the form of actually their bodies and things, that it's your choice that which company you want to invest. Yes, you can enjoy actually immediate benefit from this company, from dunya, if you use money there, but actually overall in the long term that you actually then suffer because you've used your capital. It's like a person who have, let's say, £1 million, and they can invest and they want to actually attain certain success financially. So one way is to invest somewhere and then become rich, continuous income will come. One way is to think, why should I invest actually in the long term? I have £1 million, let's enjoy ourselves. So in 6 months, in 1 year time, because you are using it, yes, you are enjoying, that is true, but in 1 year time, everything is going to just vanish away. and you don't have anything and you are completely abandoned. So this is the example of those people, those who make this investment and are happy, because actually, as I said, that there are two companies. One is called Akhirah, the hereafter. One is called Dunya. The Dunya is losing company. It's a drowning company. It's going down. Its shares are going down day by day, day by day. And you know that shares is actually, its countdown has begun already. Your life itself and the life of dunya itself. So 99, 98, it's not going in profit. It's going towards actually doom, it's going towards actually failure. And if you invest, then your investment will also go towards failure and destruction. And you will lose. With this capital, you could have actually invested in a limitless and forever company where you can benefit forever, your life forever, your whatever amenities and the company of the good people. So this thing. So this day of Friday also is one of those days. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Jumu'ah reminded us of these investments, and toward the end of Surah Al-Jumu'ah, especially about the risk and about the worldly investments and the investment and hereafter, and about the reality of death. That we don't want to die. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you don't want to, you are fleeing from death. You don't like death. You don't want to die. You don't say, I don't like death. I don't want to die. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, that is, yes, that is what you do, but the issue is that death will visit you. You are fleeing away. You don't like to meet a person. Many people don't like to meet police, but they meet you if you're doing something wrong one way or the other. So it's not good enough to say, I don't like police, I don't like court. Yes, you are doing something and you don't like them, but they will visit you, find you. So similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Surah Al-Jumu'ah, قُلْ إِنَّ الْمَوْتَ الَّذِي تَفِرُّونَ مِنْهُ. Say to them that you are running away from this death and coming back to me. فَإِنَّهُ مُلَاقِيكُمْ. But verily, surely you should know that, okay, you are running away, you don't like, you are running away, you can run. But the issue is that this will seek and find you and actually take you back to me. So there is no escape as such. But in actual fact, it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's love. The Quran is a book of love. It's a love story actually of those people who were faithful and those who were not faithful. Meaning in love, what happens that one person loves you and you also actually either actually respond or you betray the person who loved you. So the Quran is story of love, meaning one side Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had loved the creation, has given the opportunity, has done everything, but then all the stories of the Anbiya and their nations are the stories of betrayal and love. Those who were faithful and loyal and also loved back actually the one who really loves them, they became successful. And those who actually loved other things which were really also temporal and rather their enemies sometimes, they became actually successful. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to reflect, especially one should on the day of Jumu'ah reflect upon the teachings given in Surah Al-Jumu'ah and also Surah Al-Kahf. That's why it is recommended to read. To read is not only a recital but actually also to reflect upon the themes, upon the things which can, alhamdulillah, benefit a person, which can change the thought pattern or the way a person is thinking. Because the dunya has power to suck you in its attraction and to actually refocus on life and the true life. The Quran is truth, so it actually lets you refocus again. It shows you the reality again. So may Allah Azza wa Jalla enable firstly myself and also yourself and others to benefit whilst we have time. Jazakumullah ahsanal jaza. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruk wa natubu ilayk. ये असर की नमाज कितने बजे है? 3 बजे. हाँ चले बैठे हुए हैं. Now we are sitting as many of you have not met myself for some time, or if there are anything you want to ask or question or ask anything for whatsoever, so we will use this time. Whoever wants to leave, they may leave if they have work or what, any engagements. तो जो भी मौजूद है तो वो लोगों को मौका है कि कोई पर्सनल भी सवाल कर सकते हैं, मीनिंग इफ इट जनरल अबाउट, बिकॉज द you see there are 3 things. One is your own journey between yourself and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One is your actually relationship with the outer world, meaning the creation of Allah. And one is your sharing your wealth and your message or your whatever wisdom or money or whatever you have with others. So these are the 3 areas. One is certainly within yourself, that are you in harmony? Is everything of you working in harmony? Is your spirit and your nafs and your heart and your mind and your body harmony with each other? Like many people say, oh, we don't have peace. When 5 family members are living in the house and they're all fighting with each other, or 3 of them, how will it be peace? Now you tell me. In one house there are 5 members, all of them or 2 are even fighting. How will there be peace in that? There will be chaos in the house. यानी एक मकान में, एक घर में 5 बंदे रह रहे हैं, वो सभी या 2 उनमें आपस में लड़ते रहते हैं हर वक्त, तो वो दूसरे भी डिस्टर्ब भी रहेंगे ना, वो कहेंगे वो भी. तो इसी तरह ये जो आपका घर है, मीनिंग योर हाउस, योर दिस बॉडी, तो ये इसमें 5 मेंबर रहते हैं, फैमिली मेंबर्स. वन इज़ द स्पिरिट, एक रूह है, एक नफ्स है, एक दिल है, कल्ब है, वन इज़ हार्ट, वन इज़ द इंटेलेक्ट एंड वन इज़ द बॉडी. तो ये 5 चीज़ें रहती हैं इस घर में. तो उनमें से अगर लड़ाई है, मतलब नफ्स कुछ कह रहा है, रूह कुछ कह रही है, और हार्ट कुछ कह रहा है, जब बंदा कहते मेरा दिल कुछ कह रहा है, दिमाग जो है वो उधर और कोई बात कर रहा है, बॉडी कहीं और इंडल्ज है. सो दैट शोज दे आर पुलिंग अपार्ट ईच अदर, or sometimes 2-3 are in harmony and others are not, so that disturbs others as well. So let's say there's ruh and the heart is in harmony, the nafs is not in harmony with them, the body is not, so that also disturbs them because they are part of the same entity. तो ये जो लोग कई दफ़ा कहते हैं हमें सुकून नहीं है, उसकी एक वजह ये भी होती है कि उनके अंदर 5 चीज़ें रह रही हैं, वो ही सारी आपस में लड़ रही हैं या 2 लड़ रही हैं. तो उस घर में जिसमें मियाँ बीवी हर वक्त लड़ते रहे, तो बच्चे कैसे सुकून से रहेंगे? या बच्चे लड़ते रहे तो वो कैसे, उनको कैसे सुकून होगा? तो 5 तो बंदे मेंबर्स हमें कुरान हदीस में बताया गया, 5 चीज़ें तो हर बंदे में रह रही. तो पहले तो ये है कि फर्स्ट थिंग इज़ दिस, दैट एक्चुअली दैट आर यू लिविंग इन हार्मनी, व्हाट इज़ दैट एनी प्रॉब्लम, ताकि उनमें सुलह कराई जा सके, दे कैन बी रिकनसाइल्ड. तो उनके सुलह हो तो आपके अंदर सुकून आएगा. देन इज़ द सेकंड इज़ योर रिलेशनशिप. दूसरा है कि आपका रिलेशनशिप जो है बाहर के लोगों से, दुनिया से, लोगों से, बच्चों से, फिर तो उनके साथ भी अगर हार्मनी ना हो तो फिर भी बंदा बदसुकून होता है. अ पर्सन कैन ऑल्सो सफ़र. And the third is your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator of all, the creator of all, the real purpose of life. So your relationship with Allah Jalla Majduhu, so that is one journey. One is your journey within yourself, between yourself. One is journey with the other creation. तो इसमें अमूमन हमें मुश्किलात पेश आती हैं, तो इसके मुतल्लिक़ कोई बात है पूछने वाली तो वो ज़रूर बंदे को पूछना चाहिए. तो जैसे मैंने अर्ज़ किया, अब ये रोना मत रोएं, अच्छा बच्चा नहीं है, काम नहीं है, तो वो इसीलिए है कि वो अल्लाह पाक आपकी तवज्जो कहीं और करना चाहता है कि भाई तुम क्यों इस पीछे पड़े हुए हो. जी, तो हमेशा की औलाद बंदे को चाहिए भाई उस तरफ तवज्जो करे. ये औलाद कारोबार में नुकसान है तो जहाँ नुकसान नहीं वहाँ इन्वेस्ट करें. और मतलब है कि कितने बंदे ने कितने घंटे ज़ाया किए, कितनी नमाजें, कितने तल्लक़ात, कितनी ज़रूरी चीज़ें उसने ज़ाया कर दी हैं. भाई मैं वो कर, तो वो अल्लाह पाक दिखाता है कि भाई ये बंदे एक ही दिन में आपका सब कुछ जा सकता है. तो ये सालों की कमाई बंदे की जो है वो चली जाती है. इसी तरह जो है इज़्ज़त है, इसी तरह दूसरी दौलतें हैं, ये सारी चीज़ें. तो ये बंदे के लिए सबक होता है. सैयदना अब्दुल क़ादिर जिलानी रहमतुल्लाह अलैह ने जिस तरह फरमाया कि बंदे भी ये तुम्हारा मखलूक से मायूस होना ये भी खैर है. तुम इस दर से मायूस होगे तो अल्लाह की तरफ जो की रहमत की तरफ जो है फिर तुम्हारी उम्मीद बनेगी और तुम्हें पता चलेगा कि मखलूक अगर बेवफ़ाई कर रही है तो कोई वफ़ा देने वाला भी है. मखलूक मेरी कदर नहीं कर रही, यार बंदे को यही रोना रहता है, मेरी कदर नहीं कर ले, मेरी वैल्यू नहीं कर रहे. आप क्यों लोगों से वैल्यू चाहते हैं? सोचने वाली बात है. आप उससे कदर चाहें, उससे वैल्यू चाहें कि जो कदर करता है, जो अल्लाह की ज़ात है, वो सब आपकी एक एक सोच की कदर करते हैं, एक एक आंसू की, एक एक दिल की सोच में भी. दूसरे तो एकदम बंदे को जो है वो उलट पलट देते हैं, वो कोई चीज़ भी नहीं वही नहीं करते, वो भूल ही जाते हैं हमने भाई आपने क्या किया था. तो ये चीज़ जो है, तो ये 3 सफ़र होते हैं जैसा मैंने कहा. एक तो बंदे के अपने अंदर बातिन का, एक दूसरों के साथ तल्लुकात का, एक उसका और अल्लाह का. तो इसके बारे में कोई सवाल है तो ज़रूर करें. तो बाकी जो है वो चीज़ें भी चलो आजमाइश का बता दिया आपको, वो होती हैं.
Assalamu alaikum.
वालेकुम अस्सलाम रहमतुल्लाह.
Sheikh, I would like to. Hello. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
वालेकुम अस्सलाम.
I would like to ask about Prophet Ibrahim because I listened to some of about him in YouTube.
Take the speaker away, I can hear you, that's fine.
I would like to ask about Prophet Ibrahim.
Yes.
Because I don't know if you can talk a bit, and it's the one question I want to ask. Because when I was listening, when he was making dua for his father, and God said yes, that is no, he won't accept it, is to what is what asking for his dad. But I just want to find out why God don't want to accept his dua when he was making dua for his father.
Okay. You're asking, brother is asking that actually about Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, that he prayed for the forgiveness of his father and why that is not accepted. The issue is that actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran various times that when someone dies on kufr, on shirk, for example, they've not believed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala law is that this person cannot be forgiven. He has said that whoever inna Allah la yaghfiru an yushraka bihi, Allah will never forgive the person who died on shirk, but wa yaghfiru ma duna dhalika liman yasha, and he will forgive whoever. So Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, according to one riwayah, was brought up by his uncle. His father passed away early or whether his real father, biological father. And he was brought up by uncle, and his uncle Azar, he did not accept actually until his you may say death, the message of Islam. So but Ibrahim alayhi Islam was merciful. At that time these things were not, commands were not given, because there was few Muslims in the world. So because he has done big favor to Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi Islam, and he was very obedient. So he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and doing dua is nothing wrong with. So he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive. So Allah Azza wa Jalla subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed then actually that in the Quran he's mentioned that Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi Islam asking this was due to his tenderness of his heart and his softness, and he being a person of thankfulness that actually he wanted to save actually them. But because he died on kufr, so that was not actually accepted. Similar in the case with the son of Sayyidina Nuh alayhi Islam, also he was not, or he did not also, although Sayyidina Nuh alayhi Islam did dua for him, but because actually he did not respond. So the general principle now is that if any of your relatives or anyone who dies on Islam and Iman, then you can do dua of maghfirah. And if they have not died on Iman, then you can, because it's not going to happen at all, actually. So it's useless. And plus Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He revealed this actually, that they had their choices, it's not something Allah did wrong with them, they did wrong with themselves actually. They had choices to make, and they did not make good choices, so they suffer the consequence, etc. And they make a very big mistake by actually completely denying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is one of the greatest sin and greatest injustice. So that is, if there were small things that they are believer and they, etc. So this is the story. This gives us a lesson as well, that how important is it to give message and dawah to others, so that at least they accept actually the iman. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. Sheikh, just something yourself mentioned today resonates with me. I'm always constantly rebuilding business ideas, constantly rebuilding, but then they fail, then they don't work. But as much as we want to escape dunya, we are in dunya. So to move ahead with life, to get married, to have children, we'll need these things. So if I keep on getting destroyed every time, and I read my salah, I'm still with Allah, I come to every majlis every chance I get. I was here last week, I don't stray away from Allah. Allah is very paramount in my life. Every time I have problems, I think of Allah. Even without problems, I'm thinking of Allah. Allah is very important in my life. I'm not running away from that. I'm not going there grudgingly or anything like that. I want Allah in my life. If anything, I fight battles when people are trying to take me away from Allah. So this is how badly I want to stay with Allah. But if I can't, I have to accept the fact I am in dunya. So how do I build my life?
Yes. You see, as our Mashayikh Shaykh Abul Hasan Ali Shazali rahmahullah said, that the point is not that we take people out of dunya, we take dunya out of the people. यानी दुनिया, बंदे को दुनिया से नहीं निकालना, दुनिया को बंदे के अंदर से निकालना है. बंदा तो बादशाह भी रहे. A person can become a king, a ruler, he can become a billionaire. Nothing wrong with that actually. Wrong is that when they, on the expense of closeness to Allah and actually their relationship with Allah and the deen, and they are trading akhirah for dunya, then actually this is dangerous. Otherwise, actually, alhamdulillah, Islam encourages people to work. As you know, many Anbiya, they were great businessmen, they were kings. Many of the Sahaba Ikram they were very rich person. There's nothing wrong, but rather it is good to become rich if you are going to spend on yourself and on the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is better for you. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that what to give to which person. And regarding this, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that Allah Azza wa Jal does not differentiate between even his enemies and also his friends, or kufr or Islam. Dunya he gives to both. Have you not seen any kings who are not believers even? Don't you know any rich people who are not even Muslim? So what does that mean? Don't you know rich people who are not even actually pious, righteous, they're not doing? So what does that mean? This means that this thing, Allah does not have value of dunya, so He gives them to friend and foe. He has value of a valuable thing, which is akhirah, which is really valuable for ever and ever, and His relationship. So if you want to see that who Allah loves, it is to see that if they are obedient and their relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sound and good, that is a sign that actually alhamdulillah Allah Azza wa Jalla is happy and pleased with them, and they are on the road to success. While other, you can be good, bad, Muslim, non-Muslim, but the dunya, the matter is going to actually come to you one way or the other. So what the answer to your question is that, one should try, one should work, one is encouraged very much to contribute towards others actually. So what is condemned is to make it a purpose of your life, or if you have to choose between one, akhirah, dunya, that you choose dunya over akhirah. So that is what is actually condemned, not actually earning or anything, but that is rather encouraged. It can be a great act of worship if a person does it with the right intention and the right effort. So, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum. In the beginning of your talk, you said about 5 sub-bodies in the body: the ruh, the heart, the nafs. Is it possible for you to please just list those again and explain what is the requirement of each one of those sub-bodies? For instance, the ruh, it requires ibadah, or that's what it feeds off. Whether it makes ibadah of Allah or it makes ibadah of money, it requires that. Could you just please list the 5 bodies and what they require, so we know not to keep them in conflict with each other? Jazakallah.
Right. MashaAllah. So, as first one you mentioned is the ruh, or the spirit, and it is the life source. It is the divine spark which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the human being as a blessing. And because actually it comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and has heard the kalam of Allah and is always orientated towards that, and its food is that as well. So worship. But if he gets, like you said, that it will worship, but if it worships the wrong thing, that's not the right food for it. So it becomes, you may say, restless again actually. Only the relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it actually peaceful, because it comes from Allah and it always find peace. So that is, we can say, our spiritual self, the spirit, the ruh. The second one is the mind, or the intellect, you may say. And this is our mental self, and its duty or its food is knowledge. So if it is given right knowledge, it will make actually right decisions. Let's say whatever you know, everyone makes a decision according to what they know. So sometimes persons say, oh, I made a wrong decision. Now why they have made a wrong decision? Because they had insufficient information. That's why. If they knew what they don't know now, they said we would have never made that. So the food for the intellect is the right, sound, good knowledge, which is really the Quran, when actually our Prophet Islam gave that knowledge, so that anything contrary with it is not the good one. Then actually a person will make wrong decisions. So that is our intellectual self. You see, a part of our brain is totally not in our control. Only the part which makes decision between good and bad is in our control. So the large part of the brain is not within our control, because that's nothing to do with good and bad. Like the part of the brain which is controlling your blood pressure, which is running the digestive system, which is running the blood into the arteries and keeping the blood pressure and everything, the heartbeat, and all the millions and millions of systems, veins, you see, the arteries, hundreds and thousands, and all the immune system and everything, all the digestive system, your lungs, your others. So yeah, this is the part of the brain which is doing the hardest work. It is doing, and it's not, you are not doing it. So who is doing that kind of work? Who is controlling your temperature? Who is taking everything in balance? Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through that part of the brain, which is not even without it. So only the little bit which is within your choice is it to have information and to make decision. So you're asking what is the role of the mind and the intellect to get some right information. If it has right information, it will make a right decision. So that's why the knowledge is first in Islam, that you get the right information, and then you can make a right decision. So all those people, worldly or otherworldly, who's made losses in their lives, why they have done? One of the reasons is they make a wrong decision, and they say, we made a wrong decision because we did not know this. We did not know this. Oh, at that time I did not know this. So the food or the function of the intellect is to collect right information and then make right decision. That is, so through eyes, through ears, through company, we are asked to keep good company, good things, etc., so that we make the right decision. If we accumulate wrong things, then our decisions also can be affected by that. So intellect does that actually. So third is the heart. The food of the heart is morals, akhlaq, habits, you may say. Habits, which when things turn into habits, they become morals. So it can have both of them, bad habits, good habits. So the real one are the good habits. So good akhlaq and moral characteristics like gentleness, like for example, zuhud, detachment from dunya, being compassionate, being merciful, and all other traits which are actually. So that is the real habit. The fourth is the nafs. Nafs is your emotional self, emotion. So it can have both kinds of emotions. Emotions are temporal, like spikes of actually certain things actually. So it can be anger, it can have hatred, it can be also have, it can be inclined towards goodness, inclined towards evilness. So it can both. So the nafs is nafs amara and mutmainna. Mutmainna is the inclined towards goodness, and amara is the one which is inclined towards evilness. We are asked to make it that one, to feed it with that, to nourish it with that, and not to, like a baby or a child always, I want this, you don't fulfill everything what the baby or the 2-year child is saying, because you have to protect it as well. So nafs is like baby, it does make demands, but actually you have to tame it, you have to actually tame it. So, and the fifth one, as you mentioned, is the body, is the physical self. And the physical self is decorated with the 7 organs and the body at large, from head to toe. So the food, or you may say the actions, food is actions, and actions can be good and evil. So if it's engaged in good actions, it is in harmony. In the heart also light goes, in the mind benefits, the spirit benefits. So everything benefits if the action is good. If the action is bad, so in a nutshell, so these are the five: the spiritual self, the mental self, the moral self is the heart, the emotional self is the nafs, and the physical self is the body. Now, in Tareeqah Muhammadiyah, the prophetic way of tarbiyah, they both benefit from each other. If the outer self is good, the inner self is affected. If the inner self is good, the outer self benefits. So we are asked to do both at the same time, so that actually they both benefit. So if the outward behavior, the outward condition is good, then the inner self also benefits from it. Like the Prophet ﷺ said, if you do evil, if you commit a sin, a bad spot or a dark actually mark appears in the heart. So this means the outer affects the heart. If a person have a bad heart, it will actually indulge, the body will indulge in wrong action as well, because the heart is saying to do this, do this. So it has effect on it. So both have effect on each other. So even in science, behavior science, they prove that actually that if you want to change yourself, act like something what you want to be, or goodness, and that will affect your, so if you are happy outwardly, this will also, if you are sad, if you make a form of sadness and think, that's going to affect you as well. If you make a form of, so that has a kind of effect. So in the prophetic way, this is that the heart is, or the inner self is purified, at the same time the outward, the body actually also is. So let's say we are taught firstly the journey of man, that actually has an effect in the heart and mind, that where we come from, what is the purpose of life. It purifies our thoughts and our outlook on life. And then we are asked to start the physical purification with the body, namely, let's say, with the tongue. So that helps. This helps the dhikr, helps the heart helps the body. If the body stops doing evil, that helps the heart, it becomes more powerful. So this is the combination of these five things, alhamdulillah, working in harmony. So in Tareeqah Muhammadi, all of them five are working in harmony. You are trained, that is what the science of tazkiyah is, that actually all are brought together, all are trained and tamed to work in harmony. They are not used to do that, so that's why there is all hustle and bustle and pulling here and there. But slowly, a person can actually, and when they are in harmony, alhamdulillah, they have become a complete person, purified person, enlightened person. Then they interact with the outer world with goodness, and in relation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they also actually benefit. And that is, they have upgraded themselves, they have reached kind of a pinnacle, or you may say a life which is actually a better life than before, which is called hayat-e-tayyibah. So ye hai, mashallah. Jazakallah for your question, mashallah. Wa alaikum assalam.
Hazrat Sahib, it's good to see you here. Hopefully your उम्मीद है कि आपका पाकिस्तान का ट्रिप भी अच्छा रहा होगा. What I want to ask is, it's a bit of a weird question, but what I want to know is, what should we ask of the pious and the mashayikh and the people of knowledge? Because we have all sorts of ideas and thoughts coming into our head, and sometimes asking the right question is the biggest thing, because the question is pretty much half of the knowledge. Yes. And in this day and age, we don't even know what to ask. So if we don't know what to ask, how can we then get the right answer?
Right.
And for example, in Surah Fatiha, Allah Ta'ala tells you obviously what's the best thing to ask from Allah Ta'ala. Obviously, there are all sorts of other things we can ask. So what's the guidance in the Quran and Hadith of what we should ask to benefit the most from the knowledge worthy? Thank you.
MashaAllah. You see, what to ask, the brother is asking that what to ask from the pious. So what to ask from the pious is actually that number one, if a person is successful in a business or political career, or he's running a very successful chain of, let's say, restaurants, whatever. So you can ask them that how did you become successful, for example. Let's say, what is how I want to open my chicken franchise or whatever, or I also want to start my political career, or I want to be a cricketer, or I want to be a bodybuilder or boxer or whatever. So those who are successful, they are asked about their trade. So if you said what to ask from the pious are not successful in business. They might not have business at all. So to ask them, oh, what business shall I do, what, etc., etc. Go and visit a business consultant somewhere. Yeah, that doesn't need to be a Muslim even. There's nothing to do with this. Or actually, so the pious, as I said, that you ask, if person is a politically successful, you ask about politics. If the person is a good businessman, you ask them about business. If the person is successful coach, you ask about coaching. If a successful boxer, so you get actually that kind of advice. So from, let's say, a world champion boxer, you don't go and ask him how to run a chicken shop. For example, they say, well, I don't have idea, but I can give you advice, for example, so whatever advice he'll give. But he is not in the field. So you asked a very good question actually, that what to ask the pious. What are the pious? Pious awliya Allah क्या है? Awliya Allah का मतलब है वो अल्लाह के दोस्त हैं. तो उनसे फिर जो अल्लाह के कैसे दोस्ती की जाती है, यही सवाल सबसे बेहतर है होता है कि भाई अल्लाह से कैसे अच्छा ताल्लुक़ हो सकता है, अल्लाह पाक से दोस्ती कैसे, अल्लाह पाक से फ्रेंडशिप कैसे बनती है. तो उनको ये पूछना, मुझे रिश्ता नहीं मिल रहा, मुझे जो है ये करना है, मुझे ये बीमारी है, फलां है, खाना, वो दूसरी चीज़ें हैं, वो आपको दूसरे लोग भी दे देंगे. तो ये चीज़ें. So in relation to that again I will repeat, that's where I began from. शुरू में मैंने बात यहाँ से की थी कि 3 चीज़ों के बारे में पूछना चाहिए. एक तो है आपका अपना, your own self, that how to harmonize your all 5 things that they work in partnership with each other in a cooperative. जो 5 चीज़ें आप में है वो किस तरह एक दूसरे के साथ, जैसे एक इंजन होता है गाड़ी का, तो वो हार्मनी में तब गाड़ी चलती है. अब एक टायर इधर मुंह है, दूसरे टायर का उधर है, एक वो कैसे गाड़ी चलेगी? How it's going? तो इंजन इंस्टेड ऑफ एक्चुअली पुशिंग इट फॉरवर्ड, वो मतलब है कि बैकवर्ड उसको पुश कर रहा है, या वो अपोजिट चल रहा है. तो सारे पुर्जे सही चलते हैं तो तब गाड़ी से. तो इंसान के भी पुर्जे हैं ये सारे. So the human being. So first question is that how can my all these 5 things work in harmony with each other? Second is your relationship with the outer world. जो बाहर की दुनिया, आखिर आप दुनिया में रह रहे हैं, you are living in दुनिया, you have to interact with things, you have to interact with people. How to do that so that you don't suffer loss or they don't suffer loss from yourself. ये दूसरी चीज़ हो गई. तीसरी हो गई कि how should your relationship be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. अल्लाह और आपके साथ, अल्लाह पाक एक super entity है, he is the real Zat, he created all. How to actually be with him, how to have good relationship with him. So this is also actually a third thing which actually. So ये 3 चीज़ों, and in those 3 then there are certain things, obstacles come, blockage come. इसमें फिर कई रुकावटें आ जाती हैं, कई blocks आ जाते हैं. And second is that there are certain methods and techniques how to actually improve on these three matters. There are certain techniques, certain methodologies, certain thoughts. तो ये दो चीज़ तो अहलुल्लाह से तो फिर यही चीज़ें पूछने वाली होती हैं, मतलब ये, and the person gets while other things maybe you know more about them. You should be helping them in both. For example, health wise, maybe you know more. You are a doctor, you are a trainer, you are a businessman, you are a motor mechanic. So you should be fixing my car, not asking that my car is not working, what shall I do? I might not know anything, but sometime coincidentally, if a person is a pious person, a doctor, he might have some knowledge about, for example, cars as well. Sometimes he might have some knowledge about business as well. Sometimes he might have some knowledge about, cricket or whatever, because he's been playing cricket in early life. So that's a coincidence. That's not the rule, or that's not how things should be. That is something addition. But the actual thing which a person should be asking is this, what I mentioned to yourself, actually, this. So, but as you are saying, you are rightly said that people ask the wrong things. People ask the wrong thing. वो कहेंगे हमें बीवी ने घर से निकाल दिया, तो वो इसीलिए निकाले ना यहाँ आ जाओ, तो अब तो सुधर जाओ, अब तुम कह रहे हो कि वापस मुझे ऊबर भेजो ताकि मैं उसी तरह रहूँ जिस तरह पहले था, तो इसलिए तो नहीं वो हुआ मसला. वो तो मसला हुआ ही इसलिए है कि आप इधर इसलिए आए हैं. तो अभी आप बताएं कि भाई आप उसके साथ भी और मेरा अपना भी तल्लक अल्लाह से किस लिए, अच्छा कारोबार फेल हो इसीलिए हुआ है कि वो आप इधर आ जाए और इस रास्ते को सीख लें. मतलब इसलिए नहीं कि वो ठीक हो कि फिर आप उसी में गुम हो जाएं, फिर ये तो नुकसान वाली बात हो गई ना. फिर तो वो 6 महीने चले, 1 साल बाद फिर वही इस तरह हो जाएगा. इसी तरह जो है बंदा बीमार है, मैं बीमार हूँ दुआ करें ताकि मैं वही रंग रलियाँ मनाऊँ जो पहले मना रहा था. तो ये तो कोई बात, वो बीमार इसीलिए हुआ है कि भाई ये पूछे बंदा कि मैं अपनी ज़िंदगी को दुरुस्त कैसे कर लूँ. भाई अल्लाह ने ये बीमारी भेजी है. जिस तरह मैं ये वायरस के बारे में बता रहा था आपको कि भाई ये आया, भाई अपने को दुरुस्त कर लो. अब नहीं हमने किया तो ये जो बजाय पूछने के ये दूसरी दफ़ा क्यों आ गया, दूसरी सवाल ये नहीं है, वायरस से नहीं होना चाहिए कि वो दूसरी दफ़ा क्यों आया है. वो मुझे पूछना चाहिए क्या मैंने अपनी ज़िंदगी को तब्दील कर लिया है. आई हैव चेंज माई लाइफ. सवाल तो मुझे करना चाहिए अपने आप, ना कि वायरस को पूछना चाहिए. तो मैंने नहीं किया तो वो दूसरा रिमाइंडर आ गया. फिर ये ह्यूमन बीइंग्स, वो हम लगता है कि ये हमारी एनिमी है. वो वायरस कोई एनिमी नहीं है, वो फ्रेंड है आपका. अगर आप अल्लाह की दोस्ती करें तो वो भी फ्रेंड है आपका. वो तो मखलूक है एक. तो अल्लाह पाक मैंने मखलूक इंसानों के फ़ायदे के लिए पैदा किया है, क्रिएटेड. तो फिर इंसानों ने समझा कि हम इसको जो है कंट्रोल कर लें बुरा. तो अब वो अभी तो वो ख़तरनाक भी नहीं बना, अभी तो सिर्फ वो एक उसने ट्विन ब्रदर पैदा किया तो परेशान. तो अगर उसका अब्बा आ गया, अम्मा आ गई, तो फिर क्या होगा. तो इस तरह की बात. सो गुड, माशाल्लाह, गुड क्वेश्चन. अच्छी बात आपने कि पूछने बंदे को पता होना चाहिए मैंने क्या पूछना है. अल्लाह से हिदायत मांगो, अहलुल्लाह से अल्लाह मांगो, और यानी अल्लाह के ज़िंदगी दुरुस्त करो, और दूसरी बस अपनी दुनिया भी दुरुस्त करने का तरीका बंदा पूछ ले. हमारे यहाँ लोग गलत लोगों से देखें, आमलों के पास जाते हैं, नजूमियों के यही क्वेश्चन करने, हमारा फ्यूचर कब ठीक होगा, हमारे जो है बिज़नेस की में कब ठीक होगा, हमारी औलाद कब हो गई. तो इस तरह की चीज़ें पूछते हैं. तो मैं उन्हें कहता हूँ कि भाई देखें ये ज़्यादातर फ्रॉड है. आप उनसे सिर्फ 3 सवाल कर लें कि मेरी जेब में कितने पैसे हैं, वो घर में कितने हैं, और बैंक में कितने. अगर आपको सही जवाब समझ लें कि वो आपको कुछ फ्यूचर के, अगर उसको यही कोई नहीं पता, आप वहाँ बैठे उसके सामने पूछे भाई मेरी जेब में कितने पैसे हैं, बैंक में कितने, और घर में मैंने कितने रखे हुए, तो तो इसी से नॉलेज का सारा पता चल जाए। वो जो कह रहे हैं मैं फ्यूचर जानता हूँ, मैं आपके साथ ये होगा वो होगा, तो वो सारा फ्रॉड। कोई बड़ा सवाल, कोई बड़ी साइंस नहीं चाहिए, बस ये 3 सवाल मुझसे कर लें। क्योंकि जेब में कितने, वो तो आपको भी कोई नहीं पता होगा अपने बाज़ दफ़ा, तो उनको अगर पता चल सकता है घर में भी और बैंक में 3 चीज़ें हैं, फिर तो वाकई बंदा है भाई ये इस बंदे की कुछ कम अज़ कम कोई सुने। तो लेकिन ये भी नहीं तो फिर वो समझ लें धोखा ही है, सारा फ्रॉड ही है। ठीक है, जज़ाक। और तो नहीं कोई बात पूछने वाली? माशाअल्लाह, वरना फिर जो है अज़ान का वक्त हो गया है। माशाअल्लाह, ठीक है, दुरूद शरीफ पढ़ लें मेरे साथ 3 बार, फिर दुआ कर लेते हैं। बिस्मिल्लाह। माशाअल्लाह। या नबी सलाम अलैका या को बेहतरीन जज़ा और हम सब को हदायत और रहनुमाई, अपना क़ुर्ब, अपनी रज़ा, अपनी बंदगी खालिस अबूदियत नसीब फरमा या रब्बल आलमीन या अरहमर राहिमीन। अपने फ़ज़ल व करम और ihसान से हमारी गलतियों को, कमी कोताहियों को, भूलों को, गफ़लतों को, जानबूझ के गलतियाँ की हैं, गुनाह किए हैं, माफ़ फरमा। मौत से पहले पहले सच्ची तौबत नसूह नसीब फरमा। हर बीमार को शिफा नसीब फरमा। हर हाजतमंद की हाजात पूरी फरमा या अरहमर राहिमीन। व सल्लल्लाहु अला नबिय्यिल उम्मी व अला आलिहि वसल्लम। माशाअल्लाह। इज़ क़ालतिल मलाइकतु या मरियम इन्नल्लाह अस्तफ़ाक व तहहरकी। When the angels said to Mary, and they came, Jibreel alayhi salam came, qala innama ana rasulu rabbik li'ahaba laki ghulaman zakiya. Jibreel alayhi salam said, "Oh Mary, I have come to give you a blessed son, a purified son." from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So who brought the spirit, the ruh of Isa alayhi salam, who is Ruhullah, Jibreel and Malaika. So they are so powerful. They are even bringing Anbiya alayhi salam on the face of the earth. And then after that, the greatest duty, now Allah Azza wa Jal wants to communicate with people, with human beings, and then Allah chooses Anbiya, and who brings those messages actually to Anbiya and Rusul? It's angels. Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills, angels bring ilham and wahi to the Anbiya alayhi salam.
I know I'm waiting for something to happen to me. But this waiting comes